The $50 million game is officially sold out. Another coach out in Major League Soccer. We remember FIFA Gate 10 years later with writer Harry Bushnell. That and more on Wednesday's Morning Kick Around. Hello and welcome to the show. The sound of Fran's Peck and Power means just one thing. You found your way to Morning Kick Around, where we cover the world's favorite game from the world's favoriteest country, coming to you live each Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'm Robert Kerr. He's Jason Davis. Thank you for joining us here on a Wednesday, back from the long Memorial Day weekend. I'm feeling a touch overwhelmed with the amount of stuff that happened and is happening since, I'm checking back into the real world from a great holiday. I'm trying to catch up. How you feeling, Mr. Davis?
Yeah, I think your hair belies your concerns or your inability to catch up properly, I guess. Rob,
Can you call me Doc for the rest of the episode?
You want to be Doc Brown from
I'm feeling that way.
Right.
I didn't get to see the top of the hair, and producer Jenny, is usually 3 box in the pre-show, and so my top of my head is cut off.
Can you do a Christopher Lloyd? Do you have one?
Marty.
It's not bad. It's not bad. Just one word. That's all it takes. All right. Shout out.
But it's instantly recognizable. Credit to Doc Brown, but instantly recognizable. But we got a show full of great segments on the way, including a great guest at the top of the hour. But first, if you are watching this, haven't hit subscribe just yet, do so now. And then you can take it a step further, become a member, and then you can become a member of the MK Ultras. It is a great way to support the show each step of the way. Subscriber numbers are ticking up. We're working our way towards 2,500 or so, Jason?
Yeah, I mean, we're climbing. That's the goal, just to keep climbing, keep growing. Of course, not only do we want subscribers, members, as it says there at the screen, let's see if we can get a couple members added to the MK Ultras before the end of this show today, because that's how we keep it growing. That's how we keep going. That's how we become bigger and better and more fun and add more things and do more content and all of that.
If we hit that goal, I will go to 10,000 gigawatts of energy, and my hair will do similar if we hit that goal. Follow us on social media at MKickaround, X, Instagram, and Blue Sky. Write us a note, morningkickaround@gmail.com, or find us as a podcast. If you can just put us in your ear. And there's also video versions on Spotify, too.
Go to Spotify. Go to Spotify and watch the show on Spotify after the fact. That's a good thing for us.
Yeah, Spotify video is now a thing. All right, support the show, do all the things. Let's hit some goals. Now let's kick some long balls to kick off Wednesday morning's Morning Kick Around. The soccer game worth $50 million has sold out. Long ball number 1 here today. Probably the biggest prize money for any club game here on North American shores. The powers that be got what they want. A sold-out stadium in California just 2 weeks before the tournament kicks off. LAFC versus Club América, a sold-out show for a dubious but apparently very attractive game.
I mean, we said this. I mean, of course, people are going to want to see what goes down in Los Angeles. People are going to want to see which one of these teams gets into the Club World Cup. Again, no matter how ridiculous that whole competition is, no matter how much of a dog and pony show or how little actual prestige that competition has, and we don't know how seriously the European clubs are going to take it yet, it is a big deal for North American teams. It would be a massive deal for Club América to be involved, to be alongside those European champions, those European qualifiers. Same thing for the South Americans and all that. And of course, for LAFC, it's the same deal. I think I'm on the record. This is the biggest one-off match between an MLS team and a Mexican club in history. And of course it's going to sell out. There are lots of Club América fans in LA. There are LAFC fans. And last time I checked, Rob, there are some LAFC fans in LA, right? Oh, did I lose Rob? Oh, look at that. He was frozen and now he's gone. And I don't know what's happening. So maybe in the chat, you guys have some thoughts about this LAFC Club América matchup. Because for me, it speaks to some of the problems. And we're going to talk more about this with our friend Henry Bushnell from Yahoo Sports when we get into 10 years later, what happened after the Zurich raids and where FIFA is, because this of course, is Johnny Infantino's baby. He is the one pushing this expanded, bloated version of the Club World Cup and jamming it into a summer when players might rather rest, when there is absolute reason that players and some of these clubs could be a little hostile to the idea of what the Club World Cup now is. And I guess if you are a more is more person, there's never an end. Johnny Infantino is a more is more person. I do think there's a balance, right? I'm a soccer fan. I've said before, I don't know that you can have too much soccer in your life, but at some point there will become a level of diminishing returns when it comes to this competition, when it comes to where we are with the game in this country. I mean, that game sold out. Club America visiting Los Angeles to play LAFC for one more spot in the Club World Cup sold out. But if you check the internet, you'll see that many a Club World Cup games not even close to selling out. That prices are now dropping in response to the fact that people aren't really all that interested in this competition, right? Johnny Infantino and FIFA, and if you want to blame the whole organization, brought this competition to these shores because what they wanted to do was milk American soccer fans for everything we're worth. And I can be offended by that, even as I'm intrigued by the idea of what this could be. But I have the same vibe around this that I had around the Leagues Cup. I think you can justify, if you're Major League Soccer, if you're Liga MX, and if you think you're always in competition with everybody else, if you think you're always in competition with European leagues and clubs for the attention of soccer fans around the world, soccer fans in your own backyard, because of course MLS and Liga MX have to compete with the Premier League and the Champions League and everything that happens in Europe for attention here, you can justify something like the Leagues Cup, because what options do we have as North American leagues? We have no access to the Champions League of Europe, so we have to do something unique to draw attention. Let's do this competition between the two leagues. But only a couple of years into this, they're now going, well, actually, this isn't as great as we thought it was going to be, and it's actually a burden for our clubs, and nobody really seems that enthusiastic. So let's scale it back. And I don't think we're too long away, Rob, welcome back, from the Leagues Cup having the plug pulled on it. So does that augur bad things for the Club World Cup in this version under Johnny Infantino? Or are we, and I don't know if anybody's at this place, are we witnessing the birth of what will become this massively important, prestigious competition that in 30 or 40 years' time we'll be remembering the very first one in the United States?
Yeah, where do you find the barometer? You talk to a lot of soccer people day to day. You get a lot of callers, and I feel like you hear quite a few different opinions on this. I mean, you're painting the picture here, like drawing the parallel with the Leagues Cup, and that's being scaled back. Do you feel like are you trying to say that maybe we're dealing with a already future failure before it begins here?
I mean, I think the market is saturated. The soccer market is saturated. And of course, some of this has to do, and this is why it's so odd that, well, not odd, this is why it's kind of like you look sideways at Johnny and FIFA for this, because they are jamming this down our throats at the same time that players are saying we're playing too much soccer, and that is going to have a negative effect, which is going to suffer more from players being overburdened, Rob, the club game or the international game?
You think the club game eventually? I think everything in general, macro
the
sense.
the international game initially, because players are going to go, well, maybe I got to skip this tournament, or maybe I got to skip these friendlies, or maybe I can't go to this camp because I've got too many games for my club team. And guess who pays the bills? Not the national team, not the national team programs. The club teams play the bills for the top players around the world. So if anybody loses out, it's going to be the international game. And while I'm sure FIFA would love to see the Club World Cup become this massive thing, and they can also suckle at the teat of the club game because they can organize an international tournament of this scope, it's the international game. It's country v country. It's Euros, which is UEFA, not FIFA, worth noting. It's the World Cup. It's all those World Cup tournaments that are ultimately going to suffer most from this.
Kind of funny comment from the listener here, Andy. No one jams anything soccer down my throat. I choose to care. I'm curious which club or aspect of this tournament do you choose to care? But I don't know if you touched on this as I popped out for a second there, but do you feel that with this, the interest being high enough to, kicking a team out of the Club World Cup and then inviting two very popular teams, to play this play-in game, and then now that's sold out, do you feel like, the powers that be are getting what they wanted here?
I mean, this game is not indicative of the overall popularity of this tournament. It doesn't portend some massive success for the Club World Cup. We don't know. And right now, I don't think the signs are pointing in the direction that the Club World Cup is going to be a massive hit this summer. Again, ticket sales are slow for those other games. For the most part, there are going to be games with very few people in the building, right? Because you can't have massive European club versus massive European club in every match. It's not how it works if you're doing a World Cup with every confederation represented. So you're going to have games where there are not that many people in the building. And FIFA can do whatever they want. They can lower the prices. They can try to paper the room. But I don't think they're going to get 40,000 people for some of these games. So that's going to be a bad look. And then we don't know exactly what the television situation is going to be. I know it's been sub-licensed and there's going to be games on available places. But, again, they needed Saudi Arabia's PIF to do a solid to DAZN in order for this to even get the kind of contract Johnny was assuring everybody it was going to generate.
Yeah, a note overseas that I think ITV, one of the biggest carriers of soccer products over there in the UK, bid like $1 comically for it or something like that. So that was probably one of the bigger audiences that powers that be were probably looking for to make the Club World Cup what they are looking to make it. We'll see what happens.